Good morning. Welcome to News for Hearing Impaired. I am Anil Thomas and let's get started with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a telephonic conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. Leaders explore possible collaboration between India and Israel in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, including by improving the availability of pharmaceutical supplies. With 162 recoveries from COVID-19, the total number of confirmed cases stand at 2,547 in India. 62 people have succumbed to the disease. Health Minister says confident that India will surely win the fight against coronavirus. Ministry of Home Affairs exempts shopping of agriculture machinery, its spare parts and truck repair shops on highway during lockdown period. Also exempts tea industry, including plantations with maximum 50% workers. MHA approves release of 11,092 crore rupees under the State Disaster Risk Management Fund to all states. Health Ministry urges people to use the Arogya Setu app, calls it an effective tool for tracking corona patients. 415 new mandis being added to eNaam platform to effectively promote social distancing. RBI reduces market trading time by 4 hours from the 7th to the 17th of April. All regular banking services for customers will continue to be fully available. Global COVID-19 cases nears 11 lakhs with more than 59,000 deaths. US registers highest number of deaths in a day, 1,480 in the last 24 hours. US President Donald Trump says government recommends Americans wear masks outside. United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson stays in isolation with mild symptoms as Queen prepares to address the nation on Sunday. And now for the stories in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday held a telephonic discussion with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. The two leaders explored possible collaboration between India and Israel in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, including by improving the availability of pharmaceutical supplies. Prime Minister Modi took to Twitter to inform about the telephonic discussion. The two leaders also agreed to maintain a focused channel of communication to explore synergies besides improving the availability of pharmaceutical supplies and innovative use of high technology. The two leaders have been in touch ever since the COVID-19 crisis started. Benjamin Netanyahu agreed with Prime Minister Modi that the COVID-19 pandemic is an important turning point in modern history and offers an opportunity to forge a new vision of globalization focused on the shared interest of humanity as a whole. Ministry of Home Affairs has clarified on ground level issues being faced by states in ensuring the smooth flow of supply chain of essential items during the national lockdown to fight COVID-19. States have been advised to brief district authorities and field agencies to avoid the ambiguity at ground level. Production, warehousing and transport of essential goods such as food, groceries, fruits and vegetables, dairy and milk products are included under the exceptions in the guidelines. Taking the case of laboratories, the communication clarifies that they have been exempted from lockdown restrictions. This includes the testing laboratories in the private sector for COVID-19 samples. Queries have been received as to what constitute food and grocery. States and union territories have been advised to interpret the term to mean all items of food and grocery that are usually consumed by people on a day-to-day basis. Operation of railways, airports and seaports for cargo movement, relief and evacuation is allowed under the guidelines. Interstate and intrastate movement of all trucks and other goods, carrier vehicles with one driver and one additional person is allowed as long as the driver is carrying a valid driver's license. All movement of persons with the passes shall be subject to strict adherence to norms for hygiene and social distancing as is required in the context of COVID-19. Ministry of Home Affairs has also issued the fourth addendum to the guidelines issued regarding amid the 21-day lockdown to exempt shops of agricultural machinery, its spare parts, supply chain and repair, truck repair shops on highways, tea industry, including plantations with maximum 50% workers. On directions of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Ministry has approved the release of 11,092 crore rupees under the State Disaster Risk Management Fund to all states. Home Minister Amit Shah has announced the approval of the release of fund. Centre on 14th of March had already made a special dispensation for utilization of the State Disaster Response Fund or the SDRF. This fund was allowed to be utilized for setting up of quarantine facilities, sample collection and screening, setting up additional testing laboratories, cost of consumables, purchase of personal protection equipment for healthcare, municipal police and fire authorities, purchase of thermal scanners, ventilators, air purifiers and consumables for government hospitals. Central government is sensitive to the need for providing health, food and shelter to the homeless people, including migrant laborers who are stranded due to the lockdown measures. Accordingly, on the 28th of last month, the central government allowed the state government to use SDRF for this purpose only. Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has released the latest figures on COVID-19 situation in the country. Active coronavirus cases in India stand at 2,322. There has been 62 deaths overall. Meanwhile, 162 patients have fully been cured and discharged from hospitals. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan expressed confidence that India will surely win the fight against coronavirus. While praising the medical staff across the country for their selfless service, the minister also expressed concern over incidents of attacks on health workers reported in certain parts of the country. Health Ministry has urged
भारत कोरोना के खिलाफ युद्ध में सफलता प्राप्त करेगा और सारा देश आपको मैं समझता हूं कि जिंदगी भर याद रखेगा। आपका जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है, जो आपका सैक्रिफाइस है, उस पर देश को हमेशा गर्व रहेगा। इसमें मैं समझता हूं कि किसी को भी कोई संदेह नहीं है। आप सबके ऊपर सारे देश को गर्व है और सारे देश की निगाहें आपके काम पर लगी हैं। डॉक्टरों ने, हमारे क्लिनिशियंस ने, हमारे नर्सेज ने, हमारे एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट ने, हमारे पब्लिक हेल्थ के एक्सपर्ट्स ने, हमारा जो हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री में टेक्निकल एडवाइजरी ग्रुप है, ICMR ने, सबने मिलकर जिस प्रकार से पहले ही दिन से सलाह दी और सलाह देने के बाद जिस प्रकार से सब लोग मिलकर एक टीम के रूप में निरंतर काम कर रहे हैं, उसी का शायद ये परिणाम है कि इस कोविड-19 की आंधी तूफान ने सारी दुनिया के अंदर एक प्रकार से तबाही मचा दी। उसको हम भारत के अंदर कंट्रोल करने की स्थिति में हैं।
Health Ministry has urged people to use the Arogya Setu app, calling it an effective tool for tracking corona patients. The app, prepared by the National Informatics Centre in association with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, supports 11 languages and uses the smartphone's GPS system and Bluetooth to track effective cases. The aim of the app is to inform the citizens about the best practices and latest advisories of the government pertaining to the COVID-19 outbreak. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has retweeted the video message of Telugu film stars. Chiranjeevi, Nagarjuna, Varun Tej and Sai Dharam Tej featured in a coronavirus awareness music video recorded from their individual homes. Prime Minister has thanked these stars for their excellent message. Prime Minister stated that let us stay in our homes, let us practice social distance, let's win over the coronavirus.
We gonna fight corona ఏదేమైనా చిన్నదిలే మనలో ఉన్న ధైర్యం కన్నా జాగ్రత్తలు పాటిస్తూ
Ministry of Rural Development is releasing a lump sum amount of 500 per woman to the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana account holders for April 2020. The first payment has been credited on the 2nd of April 2020. In order to maintain social distancing and orderly withdrawal of money by beneficiaries, the Department of Financial Services, that's DFS, has directed the banks to stagger the arrival of account holders at branches, BCs and ATMs for withdrawal of money. Due to the unprecedented situation created by COVID-19 outbreak has necessitated lockdowns, social distancing, restrictions on movement of people and non-essential activities, work from home arrangements and business continuity plans. The thinning out of activity is impacting market liquidity and increasing volatility of financial prices. In order to minimize this risk and to ensure that market participants maintain adequate checks and supervisory controls while optimizing thin resources and ensuring safety of personnel, the Reserve Bank of India has decided to revise the trading hours for various markets. RBI has reduced the market trading time by 4 hours from the 7th to the 17th of April. All regular banking services for customers will continue to be fully available. All the leading civil servants associations, including the IAS, IFS, IPS, Indian Forest Service and IIS, among others, have come together to establish the Civil Services Association REACH to support in natural disasters, or Karuna, a technology platform to connect civil servants who are working at home during the lockdown period to support central and state government initiatives to combat COVID-19. Karuna platform, or karunaindia.org, brings together technologies, information, databases, experience, ground assessment from members of the civil services as well as professionals and civil society. Further tightening the noose against violators of the curfew in the state, the Punjab police has launched drone surveillance. The drones had so far been deployed in 34 locations across 10 districts of Mohali, Shangrur, Fazika, Hoshiarpur, SBS Nagar, Barnala, Jalandhar Rural, Moga, Ropar and Fatehgarh Sahib. The Punjab police has also cracked down heavily on black marketers and hoarders amid report of shortage of essential commodities. A total of 62 establishments were raided on Friday and 23 were found to be indulging in black marketing or hoarding in Gurdaspur, Pathankot, Kapurthala and Jalandhar, with another 5 challaned in Firozpur, where penalty will be imposed after due procedure. In view of the current unforeseen situation of public health emergency, the Election Commission of India has further extended the period of Rajya Sabha elections beyond the prescribed term of 18 seats across 7 states on the 25th of February 2020 and notification dated the 6th March 2020. Election Commission of India has announced elections to be this Council of States to fill up 55 seats from 17 states of members retiring in the month of April 2020. After the last date of withdrawal on 18th of March, respective returning officers declared 37 seats from 10 states filled as uncontested. Thereafter, as per the reports received from the concerning returning officers, the biennial elections for 18 seats from the state of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya and Rajasthan were to be conducted on the 26th of March and election process was to be completed by the 30th of March. Global cases of the novel COVID-19 have shot past the 1 million mark, with more than 59,000 fatalities as death toll soared in the United States and Western Europe, while the world economy nosedived. Italy saw more evidence that it might have made it through the worst of the coronavirus pandemic, as the daily rise of officially registered infections dropped to a new low of just 4%. The number of people who have been declared fully recovered has soared by 17.3% to 19,758 people over the past 48 hours. Now, the death toll in the country stands at 14,681 in Italy. Also, the situation in some of Italy's worst hit regions, Lombardy, also appears to be gradually easing. In the meantime, the Russian military carried out sanitation and disinfection procedures in 3 senior care centers in municipalities. The epidemiologists also formulated a list of recommendations for the management and medical staff of the centers on how to maintain proper anti-epidemic control practices and prevent the infection from spreading. Now, as the number of cases keeps soaring up in the United States, it has set a new global record with 1,480 virus deaths in 24 hours, according to the Johns Hopkins University. However, in another news, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has issued an advisory urging the residents to wear face coverings when outside to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Although the mayor emphasized surgical masks and N95 respirators should only be worn by first responders. Nearly 1,867 people have been killed by the virus in New York City, while an estimate 90% of Americans are under orders to remain at home, in many cases unable to work and fearing infection when they leave to buy food or other basic necessities. Currently, United States of America has registered 1,867 deaths, while there lies 276,995 number of confirmed COVID-19 cases. The number of people who have died from the COVID-19 illness in France jumped by 61% to 6,507 over the last 2 days, which means a new high of 588 in a day, after data from nursing homes were included, and confirmed cases jumped by 44% to 82,165, the health ministry reported on Friday, making France the 5th country to report more cases than China. Citing the figures involved, public health chief Jerome Salomon added that a total of 1,416 deaths in care homes have to date been reported since the beginning of the pandemic. Salomon also said that the public PCR testing has confirmed 64,338 cases of COVID-19, with 5,233 added in the last 24 hours. In the meantime, in Pakistan, so far has recorded 2,644 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Islamabad registered 82 new confirmed cases. Pakistan till now has recorded 38 deaths due to COVID-19. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez visited a company building respirators in Mostalla to help in the fight against COVID-19 in the country. While supervising the manufacturing of the ventilators, Sanchez said Spain's government is grateful and proud of the efforts companies, employees and public administration are making during the crisis. However, continuing with the tally, Spain's coronavirus death toll rose to a total of 11,198 from 10,003, but showed the first fall in the daily death toll since March 26th. As a total of 932 people died from the disease in the last 24 hours, down from 950 people in the previous day toll. The number of registered cases rose to 1,17,710 people. In Great Britain, Prince Charles opened a new hospital in London to provide thousands of extra beds for patients suffering with COVID-19. Built in just 9 days, the Nightingale Hospital, which was initially provide up to 500 beds equipped with ventilators and oxygen, will eventually be able to treat about 4,000 patients. Created in the Excel Exhibition Centre in London's Docklands with the help from the military, the hospital is the first of the 6 new temporary hospitals to be set up across the country to prevent Britain's stretched National Health Service from being overwhelmed by an influx of patients. Another such temporary hospital will also be built in Glasgow in Scotland. So far, Britain reached its total death tally of 3,605 deaths. The managing director of the IMF said on Friday, that's April 3rd, that her organization has a $1 trillion war chest set aside to protect the economy from the effects of COVID-19. Speaking at a World Health Organization briefing in Geneva, the IMF chief, Kristalina Georgieva, said that vulnerable economies were most at risk in the crisis and urged countries to prioritize health spending as a means to protecting their economies. Georgieva also emphasized the risk of bankruptcies and layoffs which could follow the initial wave of the crisis if not managed correctly, and which would make economic recovery even harder. The spread of COVID-19 has already had significant economic impact, ending the United States' record job growths and causing stocks to fall across the world as economies grind to a halt. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for watching.